Democrats have gerrymandered their way into political power, and they are melting down as the GOP seeks to give them a taste of their own medicine. Dems' redistricting meltdown. I exposed this foot-stomping group of spoiled, rotten children in today's guest-driven preamble. Here's a map of the counties that voted for President Trump in the last election. With the exception of the People's Republic of California and some backward northeastern states, it's a map that shows blueberries in a vat of tomato soup. The reason why the Democrats still hold unearned power in this country is because they've gerrymandered their states to insulate themselves from accountability from the voters who now want to make a change, no longer willing to support the Democrats' policies that will likely lead to the fall of the United States if we remain under socialist Democrat rule. In Texas and some other states, President Trump would like congressional representation to reflect the will of the people rather than the will of the leftist Democrat Party. To that end, he has sought to redistrict those states, not to insulate himself from accountability, but to accurately reflect the will of those states who have rejected the anti-American Democrat Party. In Texas, the Democrats have shut down the government, trying to stop the will of the people from being expressed. In the past, most Texas Republicans have dished out no punishment to Democrats when they gave a middle finger to government's whole reason for being, to work the will of the people. Right now, the Speaker of the Texas House, even though he has authorized Texas Democrats to be arrested, he still refuses to strip those same Democrats of power they didn't earn at the ballot box. Despite the Texas House knowing exactly where these Democrats are, no arrests have been made yet. Speaker Dustin Burrows hasn't even revoked these Democrats' parking spaces. But other Republicans seem committed to ensuring that Democrats are brought to justice and pay a steep political and, yes, legal price for leaving their post and shutting down Texas government. Governor Abbott is one such Republican. We talked to him yesterday. So, too, is my next guest. He is a conservative, has been the bane of fake Republicans' existence, fake Republicans who want to sacrifice their own voters to please leftists. He joins me now, conservative Texas Attorney General and U.S. Senate candidate Ken Paxton. Sir, it's good to see you. There's a report that Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke's super PAC is actively fundraising to pay the fines for these Democrats that they're earning. Texas Governor Greg Abbott says this is likely a felony for those who are raising the money and those accepting that money. Is the governor, a former AG himself, as you know, on solid legal ground in your professional opinion?
Yes. So we are, I'm announcing on your show that we are going to start that investigation today of Robert O'Rourke's Power by the People, or whatever he calls it, his PAC. And we're going to find out if they've done anything inappropriate, whether it's a bribe or whether some type of other campaign finance laws were broken.
Right. And again, do you think that the governor, if felonies have been committed, is it possible that Democrats raising money in this fashion could be guilty of a crime?
Absolutely. We're going to find out. I mean, I don't have the details. Obviously, we are just announcing literally right now. We're getting it out today. Our questions for the organization will be sent out today. And depending on what those answers are, we'll find out whether we have something to investigate.
All right. Well, you've been working pretty hard on this. You know, and Governor Abbott is targeting Democrat ringleader and communist China sympathizer Gene Wu. You're targeting every quorum-busting leftist. Describe to me what this lawsuit that you're filing in the Supreme Court will do. Explain the whole process. Walk us through this.
So it's something we came up with a few years ago. It's never been done. It's called quo warranto, and it allows us to go in and potentially remove office holders who are not doing their jobs, who are absent, who are not following through on their responsibility to the voters. So we are looking at which ones we can pursue. I can tell you this, it's going to be more than one. It won't be all 51, but remember, we only need to get, our goal here is to get a quorum. We don't need to get every lawmaker back, but once we get enough back for a quorum, I can tell you, then you'll see the other ones follow. So that it's designed to create momentum, and we're going to file that. If these legislators do not show up, as the Speaker has requested on Friday, we will file our action in the Texas Supreme Court on Friday.
Yeah, folks need to know you also spent some time in the Texas House. So I want you to dig deep into this concept with me. According to the quorum standards in the Texas Constitution, 2/3 of the House must be present to do any business in the Texas House. If Democrats are removed from their seats, like what your lawsuit might do and what the Governor Abbott has said that he might do, there are two schools of thought on this. Now, some say when Democrats are kicked out of their seats for being absent, the number of serving House members is reduced. Thus, the quorum number resets to reflect the number of those who are active members of the House in good standing. Yet others say if the quorum-busting leftists are kicked out, it triggers a need for an automatic special election in all of the affected districts. That could delay, of course, the special session until sometime in September or October. What does the law say, Mr. Attorney General, about removing these people out of their seats? Will it trigger an election, or will it reset quorum requirements?
So we're in uncharted territory. I don't even know if we have any case law on this in Texas. We are going to be researching that as we go along, because it's literally, this idea came up 3 years ago. We came up with it as a new theory, a new way to potentially stop this from happening, because this is now the third time in the last 25 years that it's happened. And so I don't know the answer to that question, but I can tell you that we are working on that answer right now. Even this question of this filing that we're doing, we're looking at common law, back to English common law, because there's not case law in Texas on this issue.
Yeah, and folks, everybody has to know what the Attorney General has said. The Democrats have made a habit of abandoning Texas. They do it all the time. They stomp their feet, as I said, like spoiled, rotten little children, and then they stop government. They shut down government. Mr. Attorney General, some conservatives are saying that the Texas House, Texas DPS, and others know exactly where these Democrats are, and some are hiding right here in Texas. The conservatives suggest the better part of valor is to go arrest them, drag them back to the Texas Capitol, make sure all the cameras are rolling. The campaign ads, as you know, write themselves, elect Republicans because Democrats have to be arrested before they'll do any work in government. What do you make of the concern that vacating these Democrat seats could delay the approval of the district maps that President Trump wants?
Look, in the end, we're going to get this done. I don't know if it's going to take a couple of months, but you'll remember the worst case scenario here is that we wait them out. They're not going to be gone to Illinois or Massachusetts or New York or wherever they are forever, because they have jobs, they have families. We've been through this before. That's worst case scenario. We're trying to figure out ways to speed that up, and you'll see potential actions by us tomorrow to do that. They're different than what I'm talking about today. So we're trying to look at the entire gamut of possibilities to make this move faster so that we can get this done.
Understood. Now, Senator John Cornyn, the left-wing senator from Texas, said he has sent a letter to the FBI Director Kash Patel asking him to assist Texas in returning delinquent Democrats back to our state. Every legal expert I've talked to says that this is a civic matter. It's a Texas matter, and the federal government really has no jurisdiction to do something like that. If my sources are correct, is John Cornyn just ignorant of the law, or is this just political grandstanding by the senator because he's wildly unpopular right now in Texas?
Well, I think the question gets answered by the fact this has happened 3 times, and not one time did John Cornyn suggest that in the past. In 2003, he didn't suggest it in 2021. He had a conversion experience on April 8th when I joined the primary, and now suddenly he's interested in asking the FBI, which I think you're right. So I don't think he's even looked at the legal angle on this. I think it's all political grandstanding, trying to convince voters that he's something that he is not, which he's not a conservative. He doesn't represent the views of Texas Republicans, and he hasn't his entire career.
Well, speaking of the left-wing senator from Texas, Mr. Cornyn is criticizing you for daring to take a vacation. And as everyone can see, you're working very hard. He says this while he's on vacation, a 1-month vacation in the August recess, where Mr. Cornyn, as part of Senate leadership, failed to approve President Trump's nominees. In other words, he didn't get his work done. Further, we've heard nothing from the senator about punishing his good Democrat friends for their historic obstruction on Trump nominees. Cornyn has not called on Leader Thune to keep the Senate working on those nominations through the August recess, and no call from Senator Cornyn to end the pro forma session that allows the Senate to stop President Trump from making recess appointments. If you were elected to the United States Senate, Mr. Attorney General, how would you act differently?
Well, first of all, this is like taking the speck out of somebody's eye and you've got a log in your own. I would be fighting to get these 150 people confirmed. This is important for the business of the entire country. We have a lot of judges that are on the line, and we take a month off without confirming these 150 people. It's ridiculous. Had I been in the Senate, I would have spoken out and said, we need to get this done before we leave, before we go on vacation. Let's get our job done and make sure that the American people are taken care of first.
Yeah, there you are on vacation, working your rear end off to bring justice here in Texas. Mr. Attorney General Ken Paxton, sir, thank you very much. Appreciate the time. You know, folks, I thank God for my wonderful wife, my kids, my country, the greatest nation ever. And Americans like you who believe in the truth, the Chris Salcedo Show will never stop fighting for you.
The Chris Salcedo Show, for the news you need to know.